Hi everyone and welcome to Linger Longer with Books. My name's Catherine and in this week's video I'm going to be taking you with me on my third trip to 66 Books Warehouse. So I'm starting off this week's vlog slightly differently. You can see my backdrop is not my normal home backdrop. I am currently in a hotel in Hemel Hempstead, which is fairly close to 66 Books. And there's a reason kind of why I'm here right now. It's currently 7:10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Yesterday, Saturday, I flew back from seeing family in France for the week, and it just so happened that I was flying in and out of Stansted Airport. So a few weeks back I twigged that actually 66 Books is kind of on my way home south from Stansted. So I booked a hotel room for last night, knowing that I could get up early today and go to 66 Books to see kind of what amazing books they've got at 70% off RRP, and to then head on down around the M25 down the M3 home. So basically I just thought that I would share with you a little list of the authors and titles that I've prepped so I can have my beady little bookish eyes kind of on the lookout for while I'm there this morning. Okay, so I have my lovely little notebook here. It is made of cats, not made of cats. It's designed with cats. It's produced by Peter Pauper Press. You can tell that my coffee here has not yet kicked in. And that's thanks in part to whoever is staying in the next room for being very loud, having some sort of argument at 3 a.m. this morning. So we'll blame it on them. Okay, so I've got a little list. First up, if you can see it, it says books to look out for. So these are my book club picks that I've set for 2025. So I'm just going to see if there's copies of the following. The Marriage Act by John Mars, Cecily by Annie Garthwaite, Hungry by Grace Dent, Omelette by Jessie Ware, Scoops by Sam McAllister, All Us Sinners, Katie Massey, The Christmas Bookshop, Jenny Colgan, and The Gathering, CJ Tudor. Now I know that I have seen Scoops there on a previous trip and All Us Sinners, so if I can just sort of stumble across those again, that'll be brilliant. And then others, just general authors or titles that I'm kind of on, that's on my radar already. So Quiet by Susan Cain, Rough Justice by Wendy Joseph, and The Library Book by Susan Orlean. And then in terms of authors generally, I've got Judy Blume, Peter Swanson, Simone St. James, Riley Sager, Grady Hendricks, Kristen Hanna, Tana French, Shari Lapina. Then on the next page, I've jotted down Erin Sterling, Jessie Burton, Sarah Crossan, Maureen Johnson, and Travis Baldry. Appreciate some of those are very, very kind of popular and very, very recently sort of published authors. So well aware that these might not be here because 66 Books does say actually they do not hold the very latest books. So don't go there expecting to find the very latest published books. Then I have a little list I've scribbled down from my photos so I can save looking kind of at my phone. I can just keep this in my hand. So my sister Rachel is looking for Lila Sage, Joe Callahan, Chris Carter, TJ Clune, Rebecca Yaros. I think that's going to be a bit of a stretch, as I said. An author, Stephen Rowley, who wrote The Guncle, The Midnight News by Joe Baker, The Salt Path by Raina Wynn, again Riley Sager like me, Frida McFadden, she's a massive fan of Frida McFadden, as well as Gillian McAllister, a couple of Gillian's earlier published titles, Everything But the Truth and Anything You Do Say. So there you go. That is just a whistle-stop tour of the titles that I'm looking for at 66 Books this morning. I'm going to head off very, very shortly. It looks like it's quite cold and frosty outside. Welcome back to British weather. French weather wasn't much warmer. But anyway, I'm about a 15-minute drive away from 66 Books at the moment. I am going to perhaps get a coffee on the go, and then get in line for around 8 a.m, which I think is when the sunrise is happening. And I'm just fingers crossed it is dry, because I can happily queue for an hour before they open the doors at 9. If it's cold and chilly, if I'm comfortable. But if it's raining, then I've got a poncho, I've got my winter coat, I'm ready for it. But it just makes things a little bit more not ideal, basically. But anyway, let's go to 66 books. It's now Sunday evening. I am home from 66 books in Hemel Hempstead. I just wanted to obviously share with you the haul that I came back with. So there's that box and then a bag here. So I'm just going to run you through as quickly and concisely as I can which amazing hardbacks and paperbacks I picked up today. I'm going to start off with this tote bag here that is filled with books. This is my Harvard bookstore tote bag that I got on my trip to Boston last November. That weirdly feels like a lifetime ago now. But okay, so I think most of these I have got for family and friends who are in my book club. I said sort of at the start of the video there were sort of specific book club titles that I was kind of on the lookout for. So in whatever order they come out the bag in. First up, actually, I lie, this is not a book club one. This is just one that my sister wanted a copy of and I managed to find it. It's The Midnight News by Joe Baker. I've set this on my 2025 TBR. It's essentially a novel set in London in 1940. So there we go. I'm going to be really short and sweet with these summaries. Next is O'Reilly Sager, Survive the Night. Again, this is for my sister. She didn't have this one, so I picked this up. And I should say that these paperbacks tend to be sort of $9.99 each. And if it's 70% off RRP, then that's 70% off £10, so roughly £3 a paperback. So you can probably do some sort of mental maths should you feel inclined as I go through these. Pardon me. I picked up 2 copies of Jenny Colgan's The Christmas Bookshop. This is our December read. Definitely picked one up for my sister and a spare for other book club members. I say members, that makes it sound really formal. It's not, it's just people who come to book club. There is no formal membership. Next is Scoops by Sam McAllister. This is a hardback. This would have been originally $16.99, so whatever 70% off of that is. Picked this up for my sister. And then last but not least in this tote, there is All Our Sinners by Katie Massey. This is another book club pick towards the end of the year. I think this is November's pick. And this is all around Leeds in the 1970s. It is centred, I think, around sex workers. The Yorkshire Ripper is obviously very prevalent in people's minds, a very scary time and a certain period of British history. So there we go. Those are the bunch of book club picks I managed to find. I am now going to rummage through my box of goodies here. This is quite a lightweight paper cardboard box that they gave me at 66 books. It's not going to last long. Let me see if I can just make it a little bit more accessible and camera friendly. Okay, we have more or less a box full here. Again, in no particular order, just the order that they were boxed in. I have to say that a lot of the books that I went in for didn't materialize, or there were other books on the shelves that piqued my fancy, piqued my interest, or I'd sort of known about in the back of my mind or heard good things about, which is never a problem, is it? Let's face it. Buying books is never a chore. The sort of the briefing that we had by I think one of the managers or one of the sort of key members of staff outside the warehouse before they let us in as the first batch of people in at 8:10. He was saying, oh, well, if you don't find any books, don't worry, you can just have a browse. And I sort of said to the group of women behind me, I was like, there isn't any way, we're just browsing. Absolutely going to come home with some books. Just don't know the number. But anyway, I had 6 on that tote bag, 6 in that tote bag, and on that pile. And then now I think there's 13 more that I have bought largely for myself and my enjoyment. So first up is, saw this quite randomly, MC Beaton, A Highland Christmas. This looks like a really short, fun story. I've never read any of MC Beaton's books, but this is set in a dark, wintry lockdub. Don't know how you say that. PC Hamish Macbeth. There's no holiday from crime. Finds himself hunting for a missing cat belonging to a lonely spinster. Okay. I just thought this would be a really nice kind of afternoon or one day read over the festive period. I do like collecting festive Christmas stories, as you might tell from previous videos. But anyway, I thought that was really cute. Again, £3 for that one. This one is The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. I believe that, let me check. Yes, I've read The X-Hex. That was the first one. This is the second one. And this has been on my sort of wish list for quite a while and had kind of fallen out of my memory of it. So I picked this up. That was a really nice find. That is very witchy. You can tell from the cover, the colours. There's a black cat. So yeah, magic doesn't always play by the rules. So that's hailed as a spooky romantic comedy treat. So there we go, that'll be nice. Next up, I saw this quite recently on someone's channel, can't remember, but anyway, it is the novel Forrest Gump by Winston Groom. I hadn't really appreciated that this was a novel before it was an amazing award-winning film featuring Tom Hanks. Obviously it's 30 years old or more now. But I just saw this and thought, I'm going to regret not picking a copy of this up. So that's exactly what I did. It says, laugh, cry, stand up and cheer. Forrest Gump is every man's story, every man's dream. A wonderfully warm, savagely barbed and hilariously funny tale told by an idiot from the razor-sharp pen of a contemporary wizard. So there. That should be really fun. I doubt I'll get to that this year just because of my TBR that I've kind of want to stick to, but I will hopefully get to that as soon as possible. Okay, I'm still rummaging. There's still a good amount of books in this box. Next up is The Wolves of Willoughby Chase, Joan Aitken. This is under Vintage Classics. I'm sure that I've heard Miranda Mills talk about this book. I could be very wrong on that. That's my kind of memory recall of this. It says, long ago, at a time in history that never happened, England was overrun with wolves. But as Bonnie and her cousin Sylvia discover real danger often lies closer to home, their new governess, Miss Slycarp, doesn't seem at all nice. She shuts Bonnie in a cupboard, fires the faithful servants and sends the cousins far away from Willoughby Chase to a place they will never be found. Can Bonnie and Sylvia outwit the wicked Miss Slycarp and her network of criminals, forgers and snitches? So that sounds like a really kind of intriguing good versus evil. First published 1962, just having a peek at. So anyway, saw this. It's for readers 9 and above, so I think I'm safe with that. I'm quite a few years over 9, but anyway, there's that one. This one I'm sure I've seen in some newspaper supplements and reviews. When did this come out? This is The Silent Stars Go By Sally Nichols. Let me have a peek. I think this is a fairly recent one. Oh, it's 2021 first published. Okay, so in COVID pandemic era that we all want to forget about, but somehow that helps frame timings, doesn't it? I've just realised actually the copy of this is not the greatest, but anyway, doesn't matter, let it go. This is 3 years ago. Margot's life was turned upside down when her fiance Harry went missing in action on the Western Front. Worse, she was left with a devastating secret which threatened to ruin her life and destroy her family's reputation. Now it's Christmas 1919 and Margot's family is gathering back home for the first time since the end of the Great War. And miraculously, Harry has returned, hoping to see Margot and rekindle their romance. Can Margot ever reveal the shocking truth to the only man she has ever loved? Look at the gold glimmer on that. Wow. Sally Nichols, I've read before. What have I read by her? No, maybe I haven't. That's a fib. Don't recognise any of those titles. But anyway, there's that one. Next up, this is one of the first books I put in my basket. And this just looked like really fun. Love the colours. The cover had me hooked. And obviously, yeah, it's called The Witchery. It's by S. Isabel. And that just looks like a really fun autumn read. This says, the haunting season is here and the wolves are awake. Each year, a curse holds the town of Halesford hostage. Wow, that is not easy to say. And with the curse comes death. The witches of Mesmortus Coven Academy can protect the town, but Iris, Jailer and Talia, powerful young witches, intend to stop the curse once and for all. Okay, that looks fun. That is probably quite a recently published. Oh, it's got quite small print. 2022. Okay, there's that one. You can see I'm doing this in chunks. Okay, next up, let's go for this one. This is Activist by Louisa Reed. I have a couple of Louisa Reed's stories. Can I recall them off the top of my head? Probably not. They are written brilliantly in short bursts. So if I could probably show you like short form like this. I haven't seen this before. I think I've heard of it, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's a great one to pick up. I don't see this about very much. I haven't spotted it in charity shops or anything. This doesn't sound like very kind of light material. It says, an accusation of rape, a culture of silence, a young woman who won't give up. When a heartbreaking testimony appears on an anonymous website, it's easier for Cassie's prestigious school to dismiss the accusations than to face the truth. That this is a place where the students aren't safe. As more survivors speak out, Cassie and her friends realise that they must take the situation into their own hands if they want anything to change, no matter the consequences. Now, I first kind of heard about Louisa at one of the Book Taster live events a couple of years ago. Louisa was on the speaker panel, really intrigued. I think Louisa is a teacher by background. I have read one about a court case, about a car crash involving teenagers, I believe, and there's another one that is completely slipped my mind. But anyway, this I'm sure will be quite thought-evoking and really interesting to read. So that's going to go on my shelves. That's published by Guppy Books. What have we got here? Next, I've seen this a few times around and I've never picked up a copy, so I did this time. It's The Book Club by CJ Cooper. It says, everyone is hiding a secret. One of them is murder. And this just looks like a really fun romp through a bit of murder and a bit of a book club. So I thought that might be quite playful. So there we go. There's that one. What else do we have? This one I heard about when it was first published, Lady in the Lake by Laura Lippman. There's lots of L's, isn't there, on that front cover. When did this come out? 2019. Okay, this edition published 2020. This is published by Faber and Faber. And this really intrigues me because of the setting and the time that it's set in. So it says, Cleo Sherwood disappeared 8 months ago. Apart from her parents and her 2 young sons, no one seems to have noticed. But in 1966, neither the police, the public, or the papers care much when Negro women go missing. Maddie Schwartz is working her first job at the Baltimore Sun. When she hears that a body has been pulled from the fountain in a city park, Maddie feels sure this lead could make her name as a reporter. But in searching for answers, she finds this is a story no one wants her to tell. So Laura has also published Sunburn and When She Was Good, the kind of little tiles there. So yeah, I had to pick that up. Really pleased that I saw this one today. And then we're on to the last, how many? 4. Okay, so we have next The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike. This was down on a really low shelf on one of the many sort of lines and rows of bookshelves in this warehouse that were quite high, and my eyes were scanning every title possible, really, just not to miss a great find. So yeah, I was first grabbed by this cover. Again, this is obviously giving a sort of autumn winter feel, menacing, dark, and it says, in a hospice for terminally ill adolescents, okay, 5 young people meet every evening at midnight to share terrifying stories. Some are invented, some are true. The strangest are somewhere between the two. The club members make a pact. Whoever dies first will try to contact the others from beyond the grave. The most incredible of their stories is about to begin. The original novel from a master of the horror genre, now adapted for Netflix. I'm sure that is now on Netflix. When was this published? Text copyright 94. This edition published 2022. So yeah, under Hodder Children's. Again, I thought this would be quite an interesting one if I had a spare day. It's not massive font, and it's relatively short. It's just 200 pages or so. But there we go. There's that one. Final 3. This is Still Midnight by Denise Miner. Denise, I am really interested in as a writer. Down here I have Brizier that she wrote in the Darklands Tales series, historical novel set all around Mary Queen of Scots time in Edinburgh. It's brilliant, highly recommend it. I also have this year on my 2025 TBR, I have, it should be on my book trolley here. Let me see if it'll come out and behave. No, it won't, will it? Hang on, bear with me a second. Boom, boom, boom. No, okay, it's called The Long Drop, and that is set in I think 1950s Glasgow. I think that's a murder case set on real life events. So there's that one. Anyway, with this one, I saw it randomly in amongst, just because, so none of the books in 66 books are sorted by genre necessarily, or alphabetical. So you really just have to, obviously there are massive clumps of non-fiction together, children's fiction together, but there is a fair portion that is kind of just on the shelves. So yeah, I spotted this one, hadn't seen this cover before, and this is all about the quiet of a Glaswegian suburb is shattered with a brutal and baffling attack. Armed men invade a family home, shouting for a man nobody's heard of. A shot is fired and they escape with a hostage and a demand for £2 million. Then this next bit caught my eye. It's a high-profile case that could make DS Alex Morrow's career if only she gets the chance. Now, Morrow is my last name, so that doubly pulled me in. And then I think this is quite a recent reprint by Orion Books of these covers. When was this? It's first published 2009. Okay, and then it says, oh, this paperback 2014. So a fairly old one, and these might have had a reprint beyond that but it looks like on the back there are several more in this print. So there we go, there's that one. And then we have Nicola Upson, Dear Little Corpses. This was one of the ones I picked up early. So I'd got into 66 books at about 8:10 this morning. I was expecting to queue until 9 o'clock because that's when I thought the doors open, but I think they actually let you in from that time. I was in the first batch. There was about 5 people in front of me, and we were the first to go in, I think, for browsing, and then obviously the tills kind of can work from 9 a.m. I think that was my feeling and my interpretation of it anyway. So I was in there from 8:10, taking my time, not being rushed. I had a tactical coffee beforehand, and just took my time, and I was out by about 9:30, so about an hour and 20 minutes in there, which I think is a fair amount of time. I think you need to leave yourself at least an hour to have a decent look around to do it justice. But anyway, Nicola Upson, Dear Little Corpses. We've got a kind of a World War theme going on through some of these picks. 1st of September 1939. It says it takes a village to bury a child. Some of these are not very happy, are they, at all? As the mass evacuation takes place across Britain, thousands of children leave London for the countryside, but when a little girl vanishes without trace, it seems that danger can lurk in the quietest village. Okay, that's all I need to know. Blending a golden age mystery with the timeless fears of a child's abduction. Ooh, Dear Little Corpses is an unsettling snapshot of a country at war when no one is above suspicion. Okay, picked that up. That might be quite gritty to read, but there we go. And then last but not least in any way, again, this was on one of, I can picture it on a very, very low shelf on one of the aisles. And it was upstairs, I believe. It wasn't downstairs because there's 2 floors. You go in upstairs first and then down. But this is I Promise It Won't Always Hurt Like This by Claire McIntosh. Isn't that beautiful for a start? Not that I would have bought it just for the cover. I've heard Claire speak about this book. It's published by Sphere. Sphere. And I thought I'd said that wrong then. I believe this was published. Oh yeah, so published last year. I have quite a few of Claire's fiction books, but this is absolutely non-fiction, and there are trigger warnings in this. And oh, I just realised there's a dent in the back of it. Lovely. Okay, we'll just skip over that. And I was really careful with what copy I picked up. I did not pick the top copies of any of these books. Oh dear. Oh wow. It says, when best-selling writer Claire McIntosh lost her 5-week-old son, she searched for help in books. All of them wanted to tell her what she should be feeling and when she should be feeling it. But the truth, as she soon found out, is that there are no neat labelled stages for grief or crash grief diets to relieve us of our pain. What we need when we're grieving is time, understanding, and to be shown that we're not alone. With 18 short assurances that are full of compassion, drawn from Claire's experiences of losing her son and her father, I Promise It Won't Always Hurt Like This is the book she needed then. And isn't that beautiful? So yeah, absolutely picked this up. This was originally $18.99. This looks like it's quite a fair size font, and obviously in 18 different parts. So I think I'm going to absolutely have to be in the right frame of mind for that. But yeah, oh, what a shame about that. Oh well. It'll be okay. So there you have it. Those are my 19 books that I bought. 6 technically for other people, like I said, for book club. And 13, an unlucky number for some, but let's skip on by that. But 13 for me. So I'm really pleased with all of those books that I've bought. I don't think any were at the very, very front of my mind, like I said. Some of them, like I said, triggered memories and keenness for me to pick up. But I think that's somehow how book buying goes sometimes. You can go in with something in your head and sort of obviously things pan out completely differently, just as in the tapestry of life. So all of these books in total, with a 70% off RRP, cost me £65. There were two other little bits that I did buy, which are not strictly books, but I thought that I would share with you anyway. So I'll do that now. So the first sort of non-book thing I bought was, I just saw a pack of playing cards, which looked like really lovely old-fashioned pictures on the faces of the cards. And I should say 66 books does sell kind of notebooks, journals, colouring in books for adults and children, playing cards, etc. It has got some miscellaneous items, as well as kind of the core chunk that is books. But anyway, this pack of playing cards, I'm just going to have a look through them for the first time. They do have really lovely kind of old pictures. That's the one front I just showed. But anyway, I think my playing card packs are growing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if you're stuck somewhere and you got time to kill and you haven't got a book to hand or audiobook or anything, I don't think you can ever be disappointed when you've got cards to play. So there you go. I bought those. And the other thing that I bought was, again, very randomly found, really sort of had to really sort of look for it on the shelf like that. But this is from the British Museum, and it's Treasures of Ancient Egypt, and it's 20, I don't know if you can see the shimmer there, it's 20 colourful cards to pull out and send. Now I thought these would be nice to send to people, or to purely just pull out and use in frames or notice boards or things like that. So it's all photography on postcards of ancient Egypt artifacts. So there we go. Picked that up, didn't even care what the price was a bit reckless, but it's all okay. So there's that. So yeah, those two things, as I said, all of those things, £65 total, minus, oh, I don't know, a little bit for this and a little bit for that. That's really mathematical, isn't it? But probably £55, maybe probably between £55 and £60 for the books, which I don't think is bad really at all. My goal was to really hunt out the paperbacks more than the hardbacks, just because some of obviously the hardbacks are sort of £22 originally, or £20, but I obviously did pick up the likes of these because I knew they were only in hardback there. I did see some books repeated, so some were in I think perhaps it was, I can't remember, but some were in like traditional normal paperback size, some were then in trade back paperback size, slightly bigger, and then I did see some books that were in, once or twice I noticed that some books were hardback and then they had a paperback version. So yeah, that was interesting. I think paperbacks are probably a little bit more sort of purse friendly in that instance. But anyway, all in all, I do think that I have got a real mix there. Quite a lot of historical fiction, quite a lot of witchy kind of spooky horror fiction, absolutely. And then I've got things around the edges like classics, Christmas, one non-fiction, and then yeah, these two are non-fiction, but obviously for book club. So yeah, if you have watched this far, a big thank you. As always, really appreciate you taking the time to support my channel. If you have got this far, as you might know if you are a returning viewer, let me know that you're out there by leaving me a purse emoji, like a coin purse emoji. And yeah, and let me know what you think of my book haul, and if there's any here that you would have bought, or if you've read any of the ones that I featured in today's video. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are as kindly as you and constructively as you can. But yeah, I'm really happy with my book haul. I shall now leave it a few months before I go back to 66 books, probably sort of 4 or 6 months. They do recommend that obviously the stock doesn't like refresh that often like your normal sort of high street bookshop or anything like that. So I'll probably go back in sort of late summer, early autumn. And anyway, I've got a big stack of books to read on my book trolley here that you can't quite see. And I've also now got another 13 to read. So that's going to keep me busy. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well, basically, and that you have got time set aside where you can for some reading for this week ahead, whether it's paperback, hardback, audiobook, however you kind of take in the brilliant things that are books and stories. My last kind of words would be, if you do feel inclined, please hit the like button and the subscribe button if you don't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos that I share here on my channel. And I'd also be really grateful if you could help me spread the word about my channel with other kind of bookish people in your life. But until next week, take care, happy reading, and bye. Thank you.